We are live with Daniella Gilboa. Daniella is co-founder and CEO at AIVF. She's a WEF tech pioneer in Tel Aviv. Right now it's like 8:30. She's been a clinical embryologist for 15 years. So quite interesting convo we're going to have with her today. BookWriteGPT.com is presenting this podcast. BookWrite is a tool in which you upload your LinkedIn posts and you get a full Kindle book 5 minutes later. So if you want to head to bookwritegpt.com, you have a free credit on me. Daniela, welcome to the pod. Tell us a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
So thanks for having me. Very exciting. So Daniela, co-founder and CEO of AIVF. And what we do is basically develop AI solutions for IVF. IVF is in vitro fertilization, test tube babies. And this means that we can optimize the IVF process and increase success rates and reduce the time to pregnancy with applying AI technology into the process of the IVF, into IVF. So it's beyond, it's just amazing. It's beyond words. You're muted. Can't hear you.
Right. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's amazing. I think you've been like 15 years in that profession. First, let's start with this. Right. Why did you chose to be a clinical embryologist at first? Was that a conscious career choice, or did you just fall into it?
So it's first to say that it's the most noble profession in the world, and I miss it terribly. Like actual doing the IVF. So I'm a biologist and a biostatistician. So I love looking at biology from the data side, but also from the wet work, the real biology. So I'm a biologist, and so I came to know IVF. There was just an opportunity in one of the big IVF clinics here in Israel, and I just applied, and I fell in love with the clinic, with the process, with the concept of IVF. It took me like 2 days to really fall in love with this profession, and so yeah. And so I live in
You're helping conceive baby at the end of the day, which is really gratifying, right? Like you're creating life, and I think some most humans that I think they live to create life, right? To have babies. I think that we're programmed to do that, so it's incredibly nice to see when, especially if you're not fertile, that you can actually conceive and have a kid of your own. So it's really cool what you're doing. I'm curious why not continue that career path? Why launch your company and go to that extreme?
That's a good question. So I was practicing embryology for many years, and then I started to do my PhD thesis, and it just became a startup. Basically, this is how I came to found IVF. So I was doing a PhD, and we wanted to build very unique data sets on which we can build. We can test some statistical models and build maybe a few AI models, and and I was doing it at Tel Aviv University with the biostatistics department and the medical school. And then one day my mentor came out of her office, and she said, it needs to be a startup. You need funding, you need team. It'll be a startup. So you can have a great PhD in 4 or 5 years, but it needs to be a startup. So then I said, okay, let me take a month and let me see, I need to understand what is a startup. I was completely, the language that I was picking was more academic and, in hospitals and IVF. It wasn't anything that's like, what is it? Like, if it's a startup, then what do I do tomorrow morning? What is it?
Which is complete opposite of being an academic, right? And yeah, one insight is only in startup nation in Tel Aviv or Israel will you have a mentor to tell you like you need to build a startup out of this, because this is in the academia world. I mean, like, let's say you were in Boston, right? Like, you would probably not have got that feedback from a mentor, which ultimately is what you need to do, right? I think you raised like 25 million funding eventually, but how did you survive the shock of going from academia to being an entrepreneur, which is completely different worlds, different skill sets? I mean, you're like quiet in your lab, you're making experiments, you're very data oriented, and now you have a company, you need to raise capital, you need to manage employees, you need to sort of move fast and break things while staying compliant. So how did you survive that shock?
So it's a shock, but I think one is that you learn on the go. Two is that, I met so many people that were great mentors for me. And I work in a team. I'm not like a solo, so I always had a team around me of people that I trust and people that can really support and help in like decision making and really be part of the process. And it's all about like having around you the right people and ask the questions and not be afraid to say I don't know. Explain to me, how does it work? What do I have to do next? And you just like, there's like courage that you need to say to yourself, this is the path now, and I'm going to do it. And I think the fact that I come from like PhD and academia, I think it helped, because there's some kind of entrepreneurial thinking when you do PhD, and you look for collaborations and partnerships, and you have to look for grants. So it's kind of the same, but on a different setting or a different scale. And so I think it helps. And I just realized from day one that the things that I'm very good at, I'll keep doing. And the things that I don't know, one, I will learn. Second, I will have people helping me. So it's just really, really believing in what you do. And you have to ask yourself, what is the reason why? Why do you wake up every morning and do that? Well, what's your reason why? And for me, the reason why was always, I think we can really impact people and help people become pregnant. And this is the way to do IVF. And, I experienced the, let's say, conventional IVF, and I think there's a better way. And this is the way that you should be experiencing IVF. So this is why we're here, and it works.
Right. And tell me about that specific way to experience IVF here. I'm on your website. You use AI, obviously, to help people get pregnant. What is the best way to get pregnant with in that way with IVF?
Okay. So I'll take you into the lab for a second. Yeah, you're showing the website. Okay. So the $1 million question in IVF is, which embryo becomes a baby? You have several embryos, and you have to choose the one that you think has the most potential to become a baby. And this is this is the embryo that you end up transferring back to mommy's uterus. And the way it's usually done is through subjective human analysis. Like, you take out the dish outside of the incubator, and you look at the embryos, you analyze the embryos under a microscope, and you say, like, there's like it's subjective human analysis. And what we said, let's apply AI that understands or analyzes the different embryos, or the milestones of the embryos, or the development of the developmental process of the embryo. And let's see if AI can, one, understand or learn or detect features that cannot be seen by the human eye. And second, maybe we can come out with a score that's translated to probabilities of success. So instead of saying this is good or bad embryo, let's give it a number. this has 70% chance of becoming a baby. This has an 80% chance of becoming a baby. And how do you do that? You actually analyze the different milestones of the developing embryo, maybe milestones or features that cannot be seen by the human eye. Again, only AI can do that. And maybe you can also build like what is the profile of a successful embryo versus an unsuccessful embryo. So this is the model AI models that you train on massive data set. So the data set is videos of embryos, and each video has the outcome, whether it was born, whether it was, implanted but not born, so whether it's genetically abnormal, whether it's genetically normal. So each video has an outcome, and we trained AI models to figure out, to understand what is a successful embryo, what is a genetically normal embryo. And then, instead of doing subjective human analysis, you have you push a button and you have an AI that tells you which embryo has the highest potential to become a baby. And
Nice.
this works. The thing is that this is translated to shorter time to pregnancy. So you need to do less IVF cycles to achieve a pregnancy. And the engine behind it is pretty much less money to pregnancy. So, this is the way you should do IVF in 2025.
Right. And is that how us hospitals do IVFs, not normally? Like, or do they, what are the incumbents? Who are your competitors? What are they currently using instead of your solution?
So that's a great question. So first to say, IVF is a global problem, or global solution. And so some markets are more advanced than others. So it's interesting to see. And usually, so now, like when we started we kicked off at 2018. So back then, like people said to me, what, like AI instead of a human expert? No way. I was kicked out of many doors. Just
Old doors, old creaking doors.
Yeah. AI instead of human experts? No. Instead of human embryologists? No. And I said it's not AI versus human, is AI plus the human that brings the best performance, the best results. So it's not us against the AI. It's like, let's team up with AI. So like, I think, it took a few years to the market to really open up. And now patients are asking for it, and clinics are more open to, I think, understanding that the clinics are empowered by AI and not being there. It's not, they're not intimidated by AI. So now it's just much more out there, and it's interesting really to see the cell cycle and the feedback that we get from clinics. And some clinics, like it's not only the AI anymore, it's like really digitizing the clinics and making the clinics understand that generating data makes them, makes them better. So it's not only the AI. It's really what I say. I call it like let's digitize your clinic.
Right. And let's say that I use your solution vs the typical solution. What are my couple's chance to get pregnant? What the old way vs your way is?
Definitely. Yeah, it's the IVF way versus the AIVF way. And yes, we increase success rate significantly.
By how much percent?
So it's pretty much depends on the reference clinic, like the clinic you go to, but it could go up to even up to 30%.
30% more chance.
Yes, and
Wow.
even the best clinics in the world, where there's a few of really the best clinics in the world, we show an increase of about 12 to 15%, which is massive.
Wow. Yeah, that's
so
insane.
I think what it means is that AI can really bring standardization to many healthcare processes. It's not only IVF, but it brings the less good to become the best. So yeah, and so it's not only I think, what we're saying is this trend of incorporating AI into healthcare. It's like it's not a revolution anymore. I think it's an evolution that is going really to become standard, or very soon.
Right. Do you have competition? Because I understand the resistance with AI, but like, yeah, let's evaluate one, the competition, and also what your go-to-market systems look like, and what's the price to use your solution.
So yeah, so there's a competition, and I actually don't see it as a competition. I see it like we're becoming an ecosystem of new technologies for IVF. And so together, this ecosystem of different companies and academic groups that are, applying and helping us develop the AI solutions. So together, we really become an ecosystem that drives the market forward. And it's just great to see at conferences, like 2 years ago, you could see the very dominant pharma, and now it's less dominant pharma, more dominant like the new technologies ecosystem. So it's really exciting to see. So we have great companies out there developing AI solutions and robotics, and each one of them are looking at the problem a bit different, but together it's really it's just empowering the clinics and the patients. And the go-to market is interesting. So there's like two options here. One, we have clinics that are powered by AIVF. So we sell the technology like a SaaS model, and it's like powered by AIVF, and it's inside the clinic. Some of the clinics roll it to the patients and sell it to the patient, so the patient gets like an AI report or whatever, and they pay for it. Some of the clinics just bear the costs. And nowadays we also have something very interesting. So it's not only SaaS is what we call services, AIVF services, and we brand ourselves as AIVF clinic. So we have a clinic, and very soon clinics that use our technology, and we have our own doctors and embryologists, and so people come to AIVF clinics, and it's very exciting for us to see the full spectrum of our AI solutions, and really the patients coming directly to AIVF clinic.
Right. And the GTM, do you use cold email outreach, use LinkedIn outreach? How do you get in touch with these people, and what's your pricing exactly?
So actually, no, it's never cold emails. It's just through from inside. Like, we're deeply rooted inside the industry. So this is really how we started. And I keep saying that our solutions were developed with the clinics, by the clinics, because we're so rooted in the industry. So I don't like cold emails. I usually like,
I cold emailed you to get you on this podcast.
Right. Actually, it works. So you should teach me how you do good cold emails.
I will.
I'd love to do that. So yeah. So it's less cold emails for us, but again, I think you should teach me how to do it.
Yeah, shout out to my company, healthtech.outreach.com. We do that for health tech companies. Your pricing, what does it look like? Like, what's the deal? Is it like, yeah, what do these hospitals and these clinics, what do they pay for? Is it just access to your platform? Tell me a bit more about that.
So it's access to the platform. It really depends. Some clinics choose to do like a per cycle, and some clinics want it as a fixed price. So it depends on the different tiers and the different solutions that they buy. But I can tell you that the AIVF clinic, where people come to us directly. So we have, again, just IVF clinics powered by AIVF, and we have our own AIVF clinics. So this is where patients come directly to us, and so it's a different paying strategy here.
Yeah, different model.
IVF, again,
Let's explore the first one. Let's say that I'm powered by AIVF. I guess, I don't know, I would pay you a couple of thousands of dollars per month to use your platform.
It depends where in the world. So
In
pricing,
Mexico. I'm in Mexico right now.
so pricing is different in different locations because it depends on
how many tests, how is it per usage or?
I'll give you an example. Like in Europe, the average price for an IVF cycle for a patient is between 3,000 to 5,000 euros. Okay.
Whoa.
And in the US, it could come up to $25,000. And
my God, in
Switzerland.
Yeah,
and in UK is like 10,000. So it really depends where. We're distributed pretty much across the world. We're active in Brazil, Europe, very active in Athens, in
I'll
Spain.
get you in Mexico and in Canada.
Please do. We're active. We started being active now in the US. We're active in South Korea, very soon in Australia. So it's pretty much all over the world. And again, because IVF is a global problem. And yes, please get us to Mexico.
Yes, and per cycle, what do you refer to as like the woman has her eggs taken, right? And not frozen, but tell me a bit more about the cycle itself. And
a cycle is a treatment, like one treatment of IVF. So the woman goes through egg collection. This is done under it's a small surgery. So it's a egg collection, and then the eggs are being fertilized inside the lab with the sperm, and then the embryo that is the fertilized egg is being put inside the incubator. There are now incubators that can really take a picture of the growing embryo, so you get a time-lapse image or a time-lapse video of the developing embryo, and after 5 days you end up with a movie of the the embryos.
Which is great.
Just amazing. It's the most beautiful thing you'll ever see. And then after 5 days, you usually select the one that you think is the best one, and you transfer back to the uterus. And then 12 days later, you do a blood test or a urine test for pregnancy. Right. So this is an IVF. So this is the lab. The cycle starts like 2 weeks prior, with the woman taking hormones to produce more eggs, not only one egg, but more eggs. So the cycle is like an IVF treatment takes about 4 to 5 weeks. So this
4
is
to
like
5 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And then with your solution, 70% chances of pregnancies in average.
With our solution, yeah, it's like I could tell you that with our solution, I'll speak about from the patient's perspective is time to pregnancy. So if we compare it to the average number of cycles according to the CDC, so the average number of cycles until success is about 3.7, and with AIVF is 1.6 treatments. That's it.
Wow.
And it works.
Yeah,
if you
amazing.
follow our recommendations, it's shorter time to pregnancy.
And what if the woman is suffering from polycystic ovaries or like such syndromes or like impediments to pregnancy? How do you help with that?
So this is IVF. Like, IVF is one of the most amazing technologies that, that developed in I think, the last 50 years. So IVF started in 1978. So imagine, like, prior to 1978, really people needed to
well, they couldn't have baby, which is terrible.
Exactly.
They were like ostracized, I guess. And
right. So, the dream of having a baby was not real for them. But 1978, the first IVF baby was born in England. And I think this is one of the most amazing technologies out there. And together nowadays with AI technologies, IVF could be the best as it gets. And it's massive. And in what we see, I think the last decade is that there's a massive a demand for IVF, not only from clinical indications, but also people choose to do IVF for, egg freezing and delaying childbirth and pursuing career. And so you end up doing IVF, and it needs to be, I say, even fun. It needs to be a short process, fun, data-driven, something that you can really engage with. This is how you get pregnant. So it needs to be, it shouldn't be so hard and traumatic. It needs to be easy and fun. And
Right. Because the part of seeing the egg grow is fun, right? But the part of yeah, extracting the egg is that doesn't seem super fun. Like, are you still
not
trying to fix parts of the customer experience in there?
yes. Part of it is patient engagement, and the experience needs to be less traumatic, more. I say, I always say to patients that we reduce the uncertainties. So it's hard, but the fact that you can predict and what's ahead, and you're part of the decision making, and you can actually monitor your embryos, and on your iPhone, and you actually see the embryos growing, and you get the AI scores, and what's ahead, like you're part of the process. You're not being handled, you're not being managed by someone else, you manage it. And I think this is how you should be doing not only IVF but all medical procedures. But IVF is like the couple need to be, or the woman or the couple need to be part of it. So this is what AIVF does. Like, it's patient engagement. We allow the patient to come inside and really understand the process, be very involved. And this is where compliance happens, and this is where you just succeed.
Right.
I
Yeah, very
really,
cool.
yeah, I'm a big believer in data-driven IVF, and
Right.
not guesstimation kind of way.
Yeah, of course, and I think like it's not only in your field, right? It's pretty much in all fields. Like we've seen a lot of
Yeah.
doctors in cancer detection getting sort of angry because AI can detect cancer better than most doctors. Like so. I think it's about time people just take a more scientific, mathematical, and outcome-driven approach rather than just guesstimating. And I think the doctor's role will change, right? They will become empathy vectors sort of in the process rather than
Um, yeah,
mathematics slash scientific classical doctors.
yeah. I think exactly to your point. The doctor's role is changing, and I think doctors now understand that AI is kind of like a co-pilot for them, and it's really teaming up with the AI to bring better medicine. Yeah, and it's data-driven medicine, and part of it is patient engagement, and having the patient being very, very involved in the process and understanding exactly what's going to happen, and predict. Like for us, for IVF, is I'll give you an example. Like, okay, so how long it's going to take me? How much money is it going to cost me? Can I keep my job? Can I go to school, to university while I do it? Like, what is it, like 6 months, 8 months? Okay, I have 8 embryos. How many kids, how many babies can I have out of these 8 embryos? Explain to me, like, what is the probability for each embryo? What happens if I transfer one? What happens if I transfer two? What are the chances of twins? These are valid questions, and and the patient needs to be answered. And so now
Yeah,
you have a way to answer the question and say 8 embryos. So if you transfer one, these are the probabilities. If you transfer two, three, you're 35. This is your way forward. Like, this is
right.
how we help you plan.
Clarity, right? Like clarity, and then less unknown variables.
Yeah, fertility journey. So plan your fertility journey, and now we can help you do it.
All right. Well, Daniella, thank you so much for being on
Thank
today.
you.
Where can people find out more about you and your company?
Website and email me, and or through the website, and yeah.
Right. And the
Link
website is, yeah, AIVF.co.
AIVF.co.
And yeah, your full name is Daniella Gilboa, and